Welcome to the Girl Dad Chronicles podcast, the podcast where you follow the journey of three families with only daughters from the perspective of the fathers. I'm your host, Lauren, alongside of my fellow girl dads, Jeff and Raf. This is episode 1. How you fellas feeling?
Doing all right. Can't complain.
I'm good today.
Good. I'm excited because my Lakers are world champions again.
That was big.
It was scary for a bit. I was like, are we really going to get hit with 2 rookies and Jimmy Buckets and they're going to take us over?
I'm not going to lie. I kind of wanted the Heat to win.
It was
I kind of wanted, just after that Jimmy Butler performance when he gave it his all. I was kind of rooting for them.
It was guts, man.
He put it out.
They're like, Miami got a squad, man. Like, the biggest thing I see with them is, like, they have a foundation, a good culture. They're going to be fine. But it's LeBron's turn, man. He's 35. He got a couple years left. Like, he's still in, like, peak physical shape.
As long as AD stays healthy, they're going to probably repeat.
Yes. And the thing is, he's a crazy free throw shooter. He needs to get to the line more often. If he gets to the line as much as the beard gets to the line, it'll be crazy because he don't miss.
Get to the line as much as the beard.
Sometimes he don't show up. It's weird.
No, he takes
AD.
Yeah, like every once in a while, he gets in a foul trouble or just something where he just doesn't show up.
It's like, why do we miss him for a whole quarter?
But when he's on and LeBron's on, they're not losing. They need like an old Golden State
when he's on
roster like that to be
when he's on. I think he's the best player in the world, straight up.
Better than Kevin Durant when he's on.
Oh,
Kevin Durant when he's Kevin Durant.
I forgot about Durant.
Kevin Durant.
That's the thing. Is like,
I think
Brooklyn's gonna be scary next year.
Yeah, they are. Man,
if they stay healthy, I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't.
If Kevin Durant's healthy, he's the best in the world.
I'm not a huge Kyrie Irving.
I'm not a fan
guy. Like I see him, and there's so much to me like potential that's just not used properly.
Oh yeah,
he's a beast. Like he's super talented, but it's just there's something missing.
You know who I'm hyped up for to come back? John Wall.
Are they gonna keep Bradley Beal?
We paid him so much money.
It's looking out. They talking about it though. They talking about him possibly getting traded or moving.
To who?
I don't know.
There's no.
I don't know.
But there's no value.
Beal and Wall together. That is a strong team. And then who's the guy who's the new guy?
Luka?
No, he's on the Wizards. He's from Japan.
Roy.
I don't know.
Rui. What's his name?
We went to the last game I saw.
Hichamore.
Damn,
I want to look it up because he's strong, and I was like, I don't want to say it wrong. Yeah, I don't want to say it wrong, but he's great in the post.
I saw the Wizards play.
He just needs to play more aggressive.
Yeah, Wizards play the Grizzlies with that game, and I saw him warming up, and I was like, damn, man, he real tall. But he's cut. Like he's still working out and stuff, and he's growing into his body. But
when he came in the league, look how skinny he was. True. That's why everybody keeps comparing them to.
True.
Oh yeah,
because
they get both that NBA diet, NBA workout schedule with the professional. You're right.
Oh yeah.
His name's Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, Hachimura. I know. I kept wanting to say Hachimura, but I was like, is that it?
Yeah. Nah,
but they all together. They're competitive.
Yeah.
When you start looking at these other teams in the East, you're like, all right, they got to get through Miami. I get through the 76ers. I get through the Nets. I get through Boston.
It's starting to...
The Bucks.
But, I mean...
Pelicans
are they
a
on
little
that
bit?
Level?
If
Bradley Beal and John Wall...
If John Wall can bring the John Wall of old, and Bradley Beal keeps doing what he's doing, and Bertan, our three-point shooter, if everybody and Rui...
John Wall brings all the attention to the paint, and he kicks it out to Bertan, and then if he doesn't have a shot, he pushes it to Bradley Beal. That could be a triangle that's pretty often.
Our team was fun to watch the beginning of the season. Oh, like we were scoring like
running
120 a game. And with no John Wall.
I just don't see it. Y'all are homers. Or maybe I'm just hating.
It could. There's
because of the Knicks. That's probably what it is. I'm probably hating because my squad is trash. It is what it is.
Luck's not on your side because You should get higher lottery picks.
No, they keep that,
or they trade them out.
They have this shit roster. They finish with the shit record,
and nobody wants to play for y'all.
And nobody wants to come there as a free agent. And they never get that number 1 pick. It's always like 7 or 5 or 6. Always some bullshit.
Yeah, it's tough.
What can you do?
Yeah. Well, it'd be awesome if our girls play basketball one day. So we can have someone we can really root for. We don't care if you had a bad team. What's crazy right now, so I feel like right now I'm getting into the possible terrible twos.
Oh.
Do you ever get into a situation where you've laughed at your little girl having a tantrum?
This happens to me all the time. My daughter is, how old is she? 16 months? I think she's already in her terrible twos.
Yeah.
And every time she starts crying, she always makes this face. First off, she looks around and see who's making eye contact. And then she just, out of nowhere, has that slow build up. Yeah. I crack up every time I do it. I don't know if this is good for her mental, but I laugh every time she starts crying.
Yeah. No, mine's older than 2 now. She has this thing where she gets frustrated and she'll look around like you're talking about for the eye contact, and then she look like it's the same thing every time. She'll take like 3-4 steps, look both ways, and just on her back and starts making a scene. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
So that's what my daughter does. If nobody's giving her attention, she'll like start like stomping around everywhere. Then she like puts both her hands in the air, then just slaps really hard like she's Donkey Kong. Just starts slapping.
She's about to play defense.
Defense stance.
No, man, they do that. It's the weirdest thing. I try not to laugh. My wife is sitting there like, "Hey, don't do that." I'm like, I can't help it.
I can't help it.
But I heard on the TED Talk, actually, if they make eye contact with you and start laughing, start crying, that means they trust you. So it's a good thing that they're crying when they look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're showing their real emotion. They're all emotional.
Yeah,
that's how they feel.
Yeah, they trust you. They feel protected by you.
Yeah. The thing
so
that
if they
mine
don't
does,
cry,
that's when they're who are you, stranger?
You got a sociopath on your hands.
Yeah. You got to watch with animals.
Lock the doors when you sleep.
Yeah. One of the thing that mine does that's funny as hell to me is we'll watch Disney Plus or Hulu and shove a show on. And you know that little gap of like 20 to 30 seconds between the episode?
Yeah.
Loses her mind. She's just so mad the next episode's not on. So she's crying. And the reason it's so funny to me is she would never survive during commercial breaks, like when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I feel like she would go through such an emotional roller coaster, 7 minutes of a show and then 3 minutes of commercials.
Why is that a thing? Because everything y'all saying, my daughter does as well.
It's development, man. They're fighting.
It's crazy because during the ads, like YouTube, we watch YouTube, and during the ads, she'll just start having hissy fits. She'll like try to like give me
she's
her phone. Like she hands me my phone. Like, hurry up, make this ad go. And I don't know if this is good. She's becoming addicted to this. She's already addicted to this phone, but she knows how to get in the apps. And she knows how to
get the ones that she wants.
She scrolls through the phone. She's only 15 months. She scrolls through the phone to click on the one she wants. Mm-hmm. And she knows how to click the skip ad button. Which is crazy to me. I'm like, I don't know. Because, all the Steve Jobs and all them, they don't let their kids use screen time.
Right.
So I'm like, is this good for our children that we're giving them screen time?
It's like, I think it's good because even though it's a little bit crazy how fast she's learning, it's good to put it in front of them because technology is the future. But I don't know where the stopping point is because it's also pretty convenient.
Right.
Where it's like, if you need a moment where just to get a breather and she's watching TV, here you go. Mm-hmm. But then it's like taking it back is one of the hardest things.
Right. See, with mine, we don't really let her watch TV unless there's something that we're doing where it's convenient to us. Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty selfish, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm making dinner or she's making dinner, that's when the TV's on. So she'll watch TV for like 20 minutes or something like that. Like I can see the difference in her though, after she does watch it, how she reacts after. Like my wife was watching criminal minds or something, and we get back to the point of when they made us laugh. Like my daughter literally ran up, grabbed the remote, and just threw it across the room. And it was just just stood there like straight shoulders out, like, what's up? If I ain't watching Elmo, ain't nobody watching nothing. Ain't nobody watching nothing. And threw it across, and I couldn't help myself. I started laughing again when I saw that shit. And she was just like, what are we supposed to do? I was like, well, shit, I can fix that real quick. You come, throw the remote. Throw the remote when I'm watching it. I'll correct the behavior real quick.
Exactly.
But it's really hard for my wife and I because we work from home and we work together. And we have our daughter. She's not in daycare right now. So there's no other way besides giving her our phone that we're going to be able to work.
So you can focus.
Like we just like try, like we give her, we walk with her every day and stuff. But if we're not giving her any attention, she's just going to be crying the whole time.
Yep. I could tell the difference in mine with that too. You know, I get a lot of days off because of my schedule, and she needs direct attention. Like we have to sit there. We're playing with blocks, you know, building stuff, outside playing. And when that stops, like if I pick up the phone or if I got to type something up, like you see a completely different behavior of the child. Like she turns into a little brat.
Right.
Sometimes when that
Jekyll and
happens,
Hyde.
You gotta look directly at her the whole time.
Like when we're hanging out, angel, perfect little angel, talking, laughing. But when I got some shit that I need to do, she's not good at like self play yet.
Oh yeah,
now that is supposed to, when they get older. When they get older, though, it gets better. Yeah,
because you've been through it.
Yeah, my oldest one, like it got to the point when they're like 3 or 4, they're good with like going off and I'm gonna play with blocks. So I'm gonna put together a puzzle or do some shit like that.
I'm at that point. I need something to look forward to.
Yeah,
I'll sit there and then I'm holding her and she's engaging with me, and I was like, "Oh, this is the good part they talk about. Why don't I see this more?"
But you gotta remember though, man. Like we're their whole world right now. Like there's no other connection. Like you think of who else they're connected to. It's you, your wife, a sibling, in my case, and some grandparents. Other than that, nobody else really matters. Mine is getting to a point now because she goes to daycare that she likes playing with other kids. But again, you're at home working with your wife. Like you are the friends. You are the mom and dad.
And that's another thing.
You are the
with
grandpa and grandpa. You all of that.
With COVID-19, it's even harder.
True.
Because there's no play dates.
No, there's no play dates, and we haven't gone back into daycare because luckily our schedule makes it so we can both stay at home for the most part, mostly my wife. But daycares are kind of filled up because they can only have so many kids at one time because there's limitations on who can be in a room at the same time. So it's tough. But let's consider where you get that break. You kind of give her the TV or iPad or phone, and then you go to cook. Are you in there with your wives? Or are you switching off? One of you cooks, the other one's kind of watching out?
Solo. I cook solo. And no bullshit. When I'm cooking, I like playing music. I feel like I'm on another planet sometimes when I'm doing that shit. I'm cooking, listening to music. It's a good vibe. And straight up, love my wife. Cooking's not her strong point. It's not her jam. That's what I do. I can throw down in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I handle that most of the time. And I prefer solo. She's like, hey, you need me to cut something? Nah. And I know my personality. I'll be like, all right, cut something. And then I'll start looking, I'm like, that shit's too big. That shit's too small. She's like, you know what? You cook it then. So that I bitch too much about the cooking stuff, so I just go ahead and I just handle it. Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah, the same here. I'm a solo cooker. With COVID, I've just been the only one cooking pretty much now, and I like cooking. My wife, she could cook. She could cook. Mm-hmm. She cooks good, but she's been tasting some of my food, and I ain't gonna brag, but I've become a little bit of a chef. Okay. I've been chefing it up. People been asking for the recipes, but yeah, I just enjoy cooking, alone because it's not like we have the biggest kitchen in the world. So if she's coming in and trying to help out, you just getting in the way. Let me cut. I enjoy it. Like it's kind of a peaceful process. Yep. And I mean, it's bad to say, but it gives me a little break from
in your own space. I think there's also a timing thing. It's this thing about wives where they show up right when you don't need them. So it's like, if I'm about to stir the pot and you walk in talking to me, it's like, hey, first of all, I got this mental clock going.
Right.
It's time to stir it up. My biggest thing is I'm on the come up of trying to cook. I'm embarrassed in the kitchen, so I want to be by myself. I don't want her walking in and I'm looking at a YouTube video on how to cook something, or I'm scrolling through the recipe. I'm like, back up. Or since she's cooked for so long, she'll come in and correct me. And it's like, first of all, you don't even know what I'm cooking. Yeah. Back up. I was like, first of all, I'm cooking the black version of this. Yeah. So please don't tell me what I'm doing. And I'm saying something. That's just me being combative. I'm cooking the exact same version that she's cooked before. No, and then I'm correcting it after she walks away, but I don't want to be corrected.
No, like little cook, I ain't even gonna get too in the detail of cooking certain things, but like I've done shit before when I'm cooking. My wife's seen it and been like, what are you doing? And I'm like, fall back. You don't know, right? Like, you don't know what you're talking about right now. For instance, if you throw some oil in a pan, you about to hook up some stir fry or something. Mm-hmm. I season the oil. She's like, why are you putting things in oil before you stir fry it? Like, that doesn't make, I'm like, just sit. You see the finished product is dope. So fall back, go ahead and eat this, and then you see. And now I'll teach you how to do it later.
Exactly.
See, I'm kind of the opposite, because I feel like I annoy my wife when she cooks, because I'm like, you should probably do this. You should probably do this.
Yeah. I know
and
I'm
she's
an
like,
asshole.
you want to just cook?
I know I'm an asshole.
Just yesterday, we was making burritos. Then she was like, what do you want on the burrito? Like, I made the rice and like chicken or whatever. And she's like, what do y'all want on the burritos? And I was like, well, I was going to put tomatoes and corn. You're going to? Okay, well, why don't you do it then? But you know what's funny? Also, my daughter, she loves joining me in the kitchen. And then y'all, this happened once. Actually, this happened a couple times. So I'm cooking, and it'll just be like, let's say my wife, she goes out real quick. Like, my daughter's attached to my hip. So I was cooking or whatever, then I turn around. I don't even know where she came from, but I always like bump into her. That's why I don't like her in the kitchen either. Mm-hmm. My daughter's always trying to just see what I'm doing, which I love, which gives me like, okay.
It's just annoying sometimes.
You kind of want to, you want to be like me, but go away. Go watch your little YouTube.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, it looks like it's across the board. We all like to cook by ourselves.
Yeah, solo dolo.
Gotta be.
In the future, think about this. I want to ask you in the future, do you want to cook enough where you do a Thanksgiving dinner or do an all-day cooking?
I wouldn't mind, but like I feel like I cook really well for my family. I don't know how I cook bigger portions.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna season it right.
So that's like I've done the big cooking before. It's not the same at all. Right. When you cook the big portions of food, you got to do a lot of baking. Mm-hmm. Like Thanksgiving is typically a lot of baking.
Yeah, and
that's not my shit. Like I can throw down, like I can do it.
Right, you make
that's
a dish
not
or
my main shit. So for me, if I was gonna make a Thanksgiving meal, I have a smoker, so I'm gonna smoke some stuff. So some like I'm gonna throw some stuff in the smoker. Some stuff's gonna go fried. Some stuff's gonna go in the oven. It's gonna be all of that. If I had to do that for like 15, 20 people, something's gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, right.
Something's gonna be unseasoned.
I'm gonna lose focus. Something fucked up is gonna happen. So if I can keep it to like the fam or a couple of friends, probably I would say 7 people is my sweet spot. 5 to 7 people, and I'm good.
See,
more than that,
it's funny you.
I'm bringing a dish
because my wife, she's been bragging about my cooking to everybody.
Everybody wants
to
taste.
My mother-in-law, she throws down. Like her food is amazing. She's been saying, all right, you're cooking Thanksgiving this year.
That's heavy. That's pressure.
I could cook for 1 or 2 people.
You have to do some trial Thanksgivings before then. You got to do 3 Thanksgivings before.
Right? Shit, I'll make the mac and cheese, but I ain't going to make everything because something's going to get fucked up.
Like turkey.
That's a lot of pressure.
If you ever fuck with turkey before.
I've never cooked turkey.
See, turkey ain't some shit that you just show up.
And do, yeah.
And just be like, all right, I'm going to cook turkey this time.
How hard can that be, though?
Hey, man.
You braise it?
Hey, nah, man. Start watch some videos on that shit. If you want that shit exceptional, that shit's tricky. Like sometimes motherfuckers.
But you smoke it.
Yeah, I would smoke the shit. They cut. I don't even know what the fuck you call it. I think it's filleted or something.
Why you holding it like you holding a gun?
Because you do it, man. So you gotta cook this shit. You gotta cut the joint in half and fan
spread the legs.
Yeah,
and empty the clip. You know how to use empty the clip, spread it out like that, and you smoke.
I wish y'all could see his hand
smoking like
signals
that.
right now.
That's the way you do it. And you gotta smoke it like that way. You don't gotta cook it as long. But if you just fuck around and try to like marinate this shit and throw it in the oven real quick, like you gonna fuck that up.
Well, you gonna overcook it or something?
Well, you could overcook it or undercook it because you just ain't fucked with it before.
You're just not sure.
Like overcook it outside and undercook it inside.
Because turkeys are big as shit, and then I don't know shit about stuffing.
I would be afraid that my dad would throw shade during grace. Like, Lord, please bless this food. Like, really, really bless this food. I know it's the first time my son prepared turkey, Lord.
Lord, help those that made this food.
Who does grace usually? If y'all go to Thanksgiving thing, who has to say it?
My pops does it.
Your pops does it?
Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like it always changes.
Bro, they make it. Whatever happens.
They trying to make you do it?
I do that shit. Like, it's been like 4 or 5 years.
You're probably the hungriest one out of it.
So you fast. You're like,
I'm a vegetarian. I don't even eat half that shit. Like, it smells good and all of that, but I don't even eat half. I'm always blessing the food, and it's crazy because like I'm not even gonna put too much out there. I'm not one that prays a lot.
So it's full freestyle.
Especially public. That's probably
trying to tell you something.
Especially publicly.
They pray go up there before you pray, hoping that the spirit comes down.
But I'll drop some shit. Like I can hook it up, but it's just one of those weird things where I'm like,
the second it starts going, and dad?
Both of them are like,
so they know you need some Jesus.
That's what they like, see the way I've been living.
We know what Jeff's been through.
Yeah, we know he's been doing. Nah, but we get it done though. I dropped that prayer. I'll have the Lord real quick and get it.
You look around the circle, you see people peeking up. Like, what is he talking about?
No, but it's funny because I can see the smirks on some people's face. They're like, "Ooh, listen to this. What he about to say?" Sometimes I've been drinking a little bit beforehand. I'm like, oh.
First of all, also, can we bless the Giants?
Yeah, I know.
On this Thursday.
That's what I need. I bet you if I do that, I won't be doing it anymore.
Well, let's switch gears up a little bit. Let's talk about music. I'm very curious. We want to do an either or portion. I'm curious. Would you rather? We're going to do 2 questions. Who has the better catalog, and who would you rather be signed to? Okay. Cash Money or No Limit Records?
Cash Money has, to me, by far the best artists. My top 10 include Lil Wayne is my 3rd favorite artist of all time.
Okay. And
Drake got to be in my top 10. I ain't a Drake hater. He makes good music. I can't say.
You can't deny it.
Anybody in No Limit will be in my top 50.
No.
Not even my top 50.
No. If I was an artist, I'd want to be signed to No Limit because Master P is an entrepreneur and he sets his artists up to make money.
Exactly.
People forget, like, Snoop Dogg was a No Limit artist. And, like, look, you know, Snoop Dogg was big at first with Death Row Records. Like, he made amazing music. He got to No Limit and was like his own boss. I think it's Master P like, promotes that shit of entrepreneurs, and he's not trying to own you. He wants you to succeed.
But the initial question was,
which would you?
Who makes the best music?
No,
that was the first question.
He said, who wants to be the best music, and who would you want to be signed to?
Right, but
I'd want to be signed to No Limit.
I feel like you need to ask the question, who makes the best music first?
That's not, no, it's Cash Money. It's
right,
Cash
so
money.
let's answer that question first before we start.
All right, so
that's Cash Money.
So Cash Money's winner. Who's a part of the roster in Cash Money?
In Cash Money, I'm going to go. So,
Lil Wayne.
Nah, see, scratch that. I'm going to start off.
Juvie.
So we go.
That's where we go.
I mean, they got the anthem.
Let's start off with the time period where they're the hottest. So let's go 2000. Like 97,
99 to the 2000.
So you talking about Hot Boys then?
Yeah.
So Hot Boys.
So I'm thinking like Baby, Manny Fresh.
You talking about Big
Lil
Timers?
Wayne.
So Big Timers was probably my favorite.
BG, Turk.
Like Big Timers, like them as a group when it was really like Manny Fresh.
Oh yeah.
Just crushing that shit. All the best beats. Like they had a vibe, like shit.
They had slogans that people were talking
Number one
about.
Stunner.
Yes.
All of that.
Then they come up with Bling.
They came up with Bling.
That was Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne came up with
Bling.
That's what I'm saying. Like there were way more. They brought way more to the music.
Juvenile was wild as shit.
If other than Lil Wayne within that camp, Juvenile is number 2 to me. Juvenile has way more songs then you realize because he just kept going.
Wait, time out. Can he bring it back to the 2020s?
I don't think so.
Juven, we need you.
I know.
Y'all brought it
you know
from the
what-
99 and 2000. Bring it to the 2020s.
You know what Juvenile had? He always had the hooks. How
yeah.
memorable was his verses? But
Oh, yeah.
His hooks were dope.
you just what was it, huh? What was it, huh? And
That shit
then
was dope.
and then it completely changed when you get to the hook.
Do y'all
Or the
remember?
paper chases? They got your block on
Do you
fire.
remember
like,
the music video to that shit too?
Yeah.
They were like just running the whole time. It was just like some hood shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's when they put in money and like just more
Dope.
energy into the music videos
Oh, yeah.
compared to what they do now.
it's like he
just crazy.
Hook killed.
It's crazy though, because when I compare it to like then to now, it was that vibe when we were younger. It was such of like, hey, I'm balling,
Mm-hmm.
and outward like I'm balling. I don't even want to say like manly, but it was kind of like puffing your chest out. I'm balling.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the man. We the man. My boys is like we ride clean. And I like music now too, but people are so more in touch with their like personal
Yes.
shit
It's individuals.
with depression.
I grew up
and
with
all types of
camaraderie.
shit. It's so much different.
I feel like if you want to compare people who connect to their music now between how it was for us, there's a lot of kids who are like, I'm going to meet my best friends at my first job after college and stuff like that. But if you listen to the music and the camaraderie of these different record labels, that's why a lot of us are like, no, we still connect to the people we met when we were kids,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
hold on to it. Now all the music are individuals.
Well, the other part too, and it's a little bit to your topic too, with Cash Money and No Limit, and you could even go to record labels with Bad Boy and Death Row Records. A lot of that was regional,
Mm-hmm.
and it was cool as shit to me. Like Philly had the thing going too, where it's like you listen to somebody or you listen to that crew in particular, you be like, oh, they from New York, or oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. They Louisiana. They the West Coast. They from Philly. That shit is. I love that shit.
Well,
You can't do that as much now though. It's
yeah,
not-
because also when you bring up No Limit, because then Master P he moved to Cali,
Yeah.
and everybody was calling him country when he was like,
Yeah.
I'm moving to Richmond, California to make an impact on music. And then Cash Money started blowing up. And he was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm moving back.
Gotta
go back home.
I'm
Gotta
moving
go
back.
back.
That's when he dropped
And then he told everyone 504 boys.
Yup.
We right
that
here
shit
in New
was
Orleans.
so dope. The 504. I remember they had a '96 Impala in their video. My dad had
Oh,
one at
yeah.
the time. I wanted to drive that motherfucker
Yup.
so bad.
Everybody wanted a 96 Impala back. I remember that.
Throw some 24s on
It
there.
was like a maroon or purple color.
Yup. Yeah, man. They had all of those joints, and that was another thing too. The style of it, because the fashion industry is so big now, and I'm not even gonna lie, like where fashion has gone in hip hop from then to now, like there was a lot of thug shit
Mm-hmm.
back then, and the '90s was a ton of thug shit, and then the early 2000s, like that generation when we were in middle school and high school, was like was rocking them big tees.
Yeah,
jeans.
we were colorful.
Platinum in the mouth and shit.
Yeah.
I wanted to put gold in my mouth so bad back then, but it was just so different with how it was like that particular crew rode this particular way,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and the southern part of it was so much different than the rest of it. I thought that shit was so like, it was the coolest shit ever.
Oh,
back then.
I extended during that exact time period. I moved from LA to Northern Virginia, and I didn't even have that much of an accent, but I talked like I was from the West Coast. But the more I listened to them, I could feel myself getting more of a Southern accent. I was saying y'all more. I've
You
never
can't
heard
help
y'all
it.
in my
You
life.
can't
I said
help
you
it,
all.
man.
Then I was
Can't
saying
help
y'all. Stupidly, I was like, whoa, day. I was saying shit. I was like, just because I enjoyed them so much. One person who had I just had so much energy that I would say is a huge standout in No Limit is Mystical.
Mhm.
This school was
Like
shit.
that man, just with his gruffness.
He was a
it's
shit
just
back
like-
then, man.
And the thing is, if you think about like booty shaking songs, it started off with Back That Ass Out. That was 7th grade. And I was like, okay, this is when I started to learn how to catch a twerk. It was like when you hear that
You
beginning of
gotta
the
learn how to
song
catch it.
and you're running, you're like, oh, ho, ho. But by 10th grade, when Shake Your Ass came out, I knew how to catch a twerk, and it meant so much more when I heard
Yeah,
do
man.
do 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 do.
I still fuck with those songs now.
Oh man,
I still
Still
think
when that song
Juvenile,
comes.
And he
Juvenile
told
still
him.
has the best. He probably have the best. I don't want to get too far, like too back. Classic to me is like Two Live Crew.
Oh
So
yeah,
Uncle
yeah.
Luke and them, like they used to have this shit that like that's booty shaking music original. Like
Just
I can't. This shit wasn't no breaks.
Yeah.
It started off the second the song started, you ass shaking. The second the song is over.
Sweaty.
Yeah. So, but it started with them, and then to me, like fucking Juvenile and them, man. They just came out with some bangers, some classics, and then like you said, Mystical. They came out with some dope shit too. Like they still make them twerking songs like that every once in a while. They're good,
But
but
none like back
them
then.
fucking-
Because when you think of
them shits were used to hit.
like a twerking
Yeah.
song, like Back That Ass Up is gonna be probably number one in everybody's head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of to kind of is some of them Uncle Luke,
Yeah.
some of them
It's like-
Uncle Luke joints, but like man,
There needs to be a bounce.
We
You can't be out here with just like a groove and slow
Right.
ground, like a bounce.
like I don't even
Gotta have that bounce beat.
like you get a lot of those other Cash Money, songs that have had like ass shaking songs too. It's not just Back That Ass Up, but they go hard, man. I can't think of another like label that's put out ass shaking music to that level.
To that level.
But
Yeah.
what about you, Lauren? Who do you think made the?
So
that
I'm Cash Money all day. There are some standout
was unanimous.
specific songs from No Limit.
No Limit.
Like there's one, oh man. First of all, it's like
Trina.
oh Trina.
She got some bangers.
Yes, she does.
So
Speaking of Trina, she been acting out lately,
acting out. Hold on, what's up? What you been
saying
doing?
reckless stuff.
About what? I don't even know, man. I'm out the loop.
Let me fact check myself real quick.
He said,
Yeah,
"Back
yeah,
check
bring it
before you
back,
say
bring
some
it
But
wild."
nah, she's been saying some real, just off the wall stuff that's going against pretty much the culture.
Oh damn. Okay. She bad though.
Oh.
Make good music.
Silk the Shocker.
Still the
He had that one song that it was like, it ain't my fault.
That shit.
Oh
That shit is.
man, I heard that this morning, and I was like, there's certain songs that take you back to that like specific time period, and that's a big one for me. That's also all the mystical stuff takes it back for me, but it's No Limit is the thing where it's like they have specific songs, but I could listen to way more when it comes to Cash Money.
To me though, No Limit, Cash Money came through with the higher quality music. No Limit to me, with what Master P did with the way he was living and the way he was spending money was some shit that I was just like, I want to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I remember he had a line in his song. He said, Louis Vuitton ambulance, case I crash, man. Futuristic kitted up like I'm Batman. I heard that shit. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. I need all of that shit. Like, what are you talking about? He had the gold tank, like just wilding out doing crazy shit. And he was playing ball too. That's the other crazy part. I was like, how is this one guy from this country ass place,
everybody's dream,
country ass place was like, you know what? Fuck all of this broke shit. I'm going to be filthy rich. I'm gonna let everyone know that I'm filthy rich, and I'm gonna spread game to everybody, so everybody else can get rich too. Like when I see that, I'm like, damn, that's
and he
that's
hasn't
the
stopped.
story.
He hasn't
He
stopped.
put his son on. He's got a company now.
That's what I like about him the most out of like between the two, because you see what he's doing with even in the food industry now. He got the Huda Who's.
All of that.
He got the rap noodles.
See shit
Rap
like that.
snack.
I hear
Rap
this, man.
Rap snacks are good though.
Name.
And they got some crazy
I
flavors.
can't
They're
name
good.
No Limit artists who were like, man, fuck Master P. But you go over to like Cash Money, and it's like disgruntled employees.
Right, he tongue kissing people too.
Yeah, and
Yo,
that joint was crazy, man.
Yo, first
I still
off,
can't
first of all,
co-sign that.
The other day, I listened to Number One Stunner, and I was
That's
like,
my shit. There's some parts in that.
there's
song.
some parts where I was like, yo, what the? Are you
Like
giving us clues?
That's
Straight
I
up,
can name.
He
Oh,
says,
name 'em.
he
I know
says,
the part.
Me and my son get a house by the beach, so it's like y'all just like romantically living together. And then he said, I'm gonna fuck her ass while you get.
That's the line I was talking about.
At the same time,
That's the part
you know
I was
how
talking
close your dick's gotta be.
Yeah, bro. I can't.
I was like,
And, but that vibe to that song is so dope.
Yes,
and so you hear a couple of parts, you're like,
what? Just
like I remember I was driving to work listening to that shit, like just saying the whole part, and then it came to like that part.
Like, I'll be fucking them moms. I'll be fucking them daughters. And
Yeah,
I was like, what?
I was like, oh, can't co-sign all of it, but man, the fucking music's still vibing. Like you said, the tree that he made with the other artists that are coming off of it. Again, Drake.
Yeah. With
Drake's
Young Money, just the expansion.
Some of the Young Money artists are trash though.
Well, a lot of the new ones are trash.
I don't know about the new ones. Like Tyga, he every once in a while he comes out with a song like, oh shit,
he's got a good vibe to him. He's just not consistent.
It's just some of his shit
Man,
is
he
garbage.
is goofy.
He is goofy.
Have y'all seen that when he was on that MTV show back in the day?
Nah, I ain't seen that.
He was like on. Oh, y'all ain't seen this?
I ain't seen that joint though.
He was on this dating show or something. No, like he was on some MTV show. Then they had him on camera. He was like, "Yo," he was the corniest dude. He was like, "Yeah, my mom got a Mercedes. I live in like Beverly Hills." He was speaking about like him growing up in the suburbs.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Yo, I'm still hood though."
No,
y'all gotta see
like,
this video clip.
Hood though.
Y'all gotta watch this video clip.
Man.
He still had the same forehead. That's another thing. I don't know how these. I need to hit up their haired people.
Hit up the barbers. That's that money barbers.
Hey, how y'all getting all this hair back? Just gotta have a little bit of money.
Now, Tyga had a couple of bangers though, man. Yeah, like he's had some good songs, man. He has Nicki Minaj was on there. She made some damn good music too, man.
I'm a big fan of Nicki Minaj.
A lot of them had like some real strong ass music, but it's just.
I mean, they make the best music.
Some of them ain't shit.
It's just weird. I wouldn't want to be in their camp.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to enjoy their music.
Right.
Yeah. But I feel like I'd be better off after if I was signed to No Limit.
Yeah, man.
But if you look at it, I mean, they've been doing it a while. Like Nicki Minaj and Drake, they're consistently every year producing and putting out top music.
I feel like
you can't say that same about No Limit.
It's the talent that those two people bring in. I don't think Cash Money, Young Money is making them any better. I think they just picked the right people, and it's just like they gave them the biggest offer, and it's like we got some fucking gems.
But I don't know though.
So maybe he's just a real good talent recruiter.
To me,
though, he's a talent recruiter.
You don't have any of that shit without Wayne, though. In my opinion,
Wayne is by far the MVP.
Like I would make the argument: Hot Boys as a group together. Like you put that group together, and then Wayne has this breakout success, and it's like, oh shit, what like. You got to think how many times every once in a while in hip hop, there's an artist that comes up that's just like, what the fuck? Like 50 Cent had that shit. And then Wayne, Wayne has that shit too. There's a handful, like Kendrick Lamar will have that shit. Yeah. It's just where you're like, what the fuck? This shit is dope. Like everything is fucking dope.
And Wayne was young. He's only a year older than me. And so when I saw him in middle school first come out, I was like, oh yeah, I want to be just like him. But also think of the difference. Bow Wow was only a year younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a completely different vibe. I wasn't out here being like, I want to be like Bow Wow. I was just like, oh, another kid rapper. I was like, I want to be like Wayne.
Yeah.
I knew he was 15. I was like, he already got kids? He fucking? I want to be like Wayne.
But the lyrics, though, like Wayne's lyrics was dope as shit.
Yeah.
When he started coming, like those Carters and shit like that, those
were
dope as fuck. You can't even knock them. Like they were dope. Everybody liked that shit. Even if you like just New York shit, or if you like just West Coast shit, that Wayne shit
big. He was big.
Yeah. It went hard.
Like a long time.
Yeah. And they have Cash Money too. They're affiliated with some of these artists that some people don't even really have that connection to. Like if you ever listen to Gilly the Kid, like he was affiliated with Cash Money.
Well, he was writing for Lil Wayne.
Yeah, like he? Clips. They said they wrote for him some too.
But they got in Lil Wayne and Gilly was beefing.
I'm still a Gilly the Kid fan.
I follow him on
his lyrics.
I follow him on Instagram. It's one of the funniest Instagram pages.
Okay, I was going to say. I
got to look that up.
He still got.
He got one of the funniest Instagram pages. He also got a podcast, $1 Million Worth of Game.
Oh
shit! Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's think about this. So if we relate to our family, and we think about the post high school education for our girls, are we going like the classic college route, or what if we find out, yo, our daughters can spit,
My daughter's not gonna.
And they want to go. They want to go to a rap game.
No.
So it's like just making that transition, but it's really like I think the world has so many options, but as soon as you get to kindergarten, most of their teachers are going to say we're working towards college. How do y'all feel? What are we going to say at home?
I think it's important to have an open mind because, like how we grew up, it was always you go to college if you want to be something in your life, which is obviously not true.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a good option to go to college if she wants to, but if she wants to pursue something else, go to a trade school, start a business.
A trade school is college.
No, it's not.
We
Don't
say
say
it's
that.
not. It is.
It's not.
It is.
How you figure?
Because if you go to school, you got to think anything after high school is college.
No, it's not.
It could be a certificate, in my opinion.
A certification, it could be, you don't have to have a 4-year degree.
Cool. But if you get an associate's degree in something, for instance, so you can be an RN, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can go to 2 years of school for that. To me, that's going to college. I consider that higher education. It's not.
Not me. I think a college is going like dorms,
like
and
full-fledged attending
full-fledged college.
That's the push. So that's a.
How's
you're
that
saying,
a push? That's
you're
what
saying bachelor's
typically
degree.
when people think of college is you're going to like you're living the college experience.
So if I go,
I don't think there was
community
any
college,
deeper meaning. You're just trying to create something that's not there.
So
when
if you
people
go to
say
community
college,
does that count?
Yeah, sure.
You're not living in a dorm though.
You don't have to live in a dorm to go to college, but I was just saying, like the whole college experience is typical thing where most people think is go to college.
I think the divide between what you two are saying is seeing the difference where if you go to a trade school, you're specifically focused on exact courses that will lead towards a career.
Right.
Where in college, you'll take additional courses to kind of fill up this quota of how many credits you have to achieve.
So I guess.
Right, exactly. That was exactly my point.
Okay. I was looking at it from any education that you get after high school.
Well, that's bullshit because I get educated when I watch YouTube videos. That's not me going to college.
I would call it a former education.
It is. How is it not a formal education? You can pay for certain classes like on Udemy. That's not me going to college.
I would look at it this way. So if I can, you can teach yourself how to do a lot of things. That's another thing that, as a society, we don't do hard. Like, we don't put value on teaching yourself how to do a task. Like, hey, maybe someone didn't teach me carpentry, but like you said, I went on YouTube and I learned carpentry. But me teaching myself something doesn't give me a degree that I can take to an employer and say, hey, I'm certified.
You don't need. You can get the experience.
But that's what college is, though. As much as we want to deny that, college is pretty much someone else validating you to be able to do something. That's really all college is.
Well, that's how I take it. So
you say, I invested this much money.
Yeah,
I
but
put this in
nowadays people are looking for experience more than college degrees because now a bachelor's degree is nothing. Everybody has a bachelor's degree.
I'm not saying
people want it is absolutely nothing. People would rather experience over a bachelor's degree. You could go to the military and pick up experience and land these high-paying $70,000+ jobs just from your military experience. You don't need a college degree.
There are certain jobs that you have to have a college degree to get.
Well, of course.
Let's keep it typical. Like,
yes.
If you want to be a doctor, you can talk all the shit you want. If you want to be a doctor, your ass better get a bachelor's degree and go get it.
Well, that's why. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, of course, you can play that game all you want.
The other part of it, too, and this is the tricky part, is if you want to get involved with business, this is where it gets tricky. You can talk to a lot of different people and get a lot of different answers with this. A lot of people will say the best thing you can do in business is get experience, right? I hear all of these guys say that. But then when you start looking at the most successful business owners, they all have college degrees. Now, is the reason because they felt like they had to do it?
What's a successful... that's bullshit. What's a successful business
Successful business...
Because the most successful business owners don't have a college... Like, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he does not have a college degree.
That's one person.
Well, I'm giving you an example.
Mark
many...
Hold up. Mark Cuban has a degree.
Okay, that's one person.
I can start naming. I can start naming.
Well, I can start naming a bunch of people that don't have a college degree that are making a bunch of money running their own business.
If you and me go down a list of the most successful business owners around the world, and we say how many of them have degrees and how many of them don't, the list
But that's
of people who have degrees are going to be more.
People see that's a
But I don't know-
horrible.
no, but I don't
That's
know
a
the
horrible
reason.
thing you put in
I
people's
don't know the
heads
reason
saying
why.
you need a college degree to start a
I'm not
business.
saying that.
That's the most bullshit answer
not
I've
saying
ever
that.
heard in my
I'm not
life.
saying
You
that's
do
the
not
reason.
need a college degree to run a successful business.
I don't think you
That's
do.
straight bullshit.
I don't think you do.
Because people could graduate high school, pick up a trade, learn that trade, start their business, and they become way more successful than half these people with bachelor's degrees.
I actually think it's comparable to athletics. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying you have to have a college degree to be successful. What I'm trying to say is people went and got that degree because they thought that you had to have that degree to be successful. Because a lot of
And
people,
that's a lie.
I think it
You don't
is.
need
I think it's a
college
false
degree.
thing that they try to put out.
Let me say this.
Let me say this.
So what it seems like between the two of you in the line that we're going across is in each avenue, it's where you're putting your energy. I think if you're in college, you're putting your energy towards someone who was paid to be there that you're paying for to tell you that information and help you build that business. The other avenue is if you don't go to college and you go towards the business, you're not putting your energy into finding out that information for yourself because nothing is going to come innately. It's more of where is your energy going? Is it going towards I'm going to develop it myself, or am I going to start to get some tips and tricks and get some information about that?
College teaches you how to be an employee. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Exactly.
College teaches you how to be an employee.
So what you saying?
But most people, and this is the part where I feel strongly about this, and this is the part that I'll debate. Most people become an employee first, and then they start their own shit.
Yes,
So
and
they
a
go to
bachelor's
college,
degree helps
they
you
become an employee,
skip a couple of steps.
They become an employee. They get hired at an entry-level position. And this is a huge argument that I agree with you. I don't think you need to go to college to be in that entrance level employee. Mm-hmm. But the system is set up right now that that's kind of the way they try to make it. But it's like college teaches you how to be that employee. You learn for a little bit. And if you have that entrepreneur spirit, after a couple of years, you look around and say, "Oh, this is how they did it."
Well, I think that's bullshit. I think,
and it's put you at a disadvantage too because you owe money now. So now you owe somebody else money, and you're already starting behind when you could have done that shit without spending $40,000. Without being in debt $40,000. So you're off to a better start. A lot of those guys that get out of high school, learn to trade, or the other huge one that people never talk about is if your parent owns a business.
And you step
in there and you learn from
that's the best college you could get.
That shit is worth 8 years of college.
Absolutely.
Seeing an actual how a business is run. But the one huge part that college does that a lot of people, I don't know what you put the price on this is the networking that can come from college. You can get, there is an advantage with that.
That's what that was the point I was waiting to make is how many people do you meet who are at a similar driven level and a similar knowledge base than you in any other situation than at a university or college. I think there's a lot of people who may have that enthusiasm and hustle with you. I think there might be a lot of people who, even at a associate's degree level, you would say there's probably people who are like perfect because they're like, I'm trying to knock this out a little bit, get a little bit more information, but I'm mostly making connections. But we have to understand that the fact that because so many people have been given this story and this motivation of college is the way to go, you probably have a better chance of meeting people who are at that upper tier of getting into business in that location.
So I think college is great if you want to network and meet people and just have that social experience. I think it's great for that. If you want to network with people, I think you should network with people that are doing the business.
Yeah,
those are the people you want to network. You want to go to your Chamber of Commerce. There's no age limit to that. You want to go to the Chamber of Commerce and meet people who are in business.
It's a lot cheaper to do it that way.
Exactly. There's cheaper options. There's, meetups that have people with like-mindeds. There's other ways where you can go and network. But I think college... Now, you trying to make me sound like I'm anti-college. I'm not anti-college. If my daughter wants to go to college, fine. But my wife and I are building a business. And if she's liking our business and say, I have no need to go to college, I'm not going to force you to go to college. If you want to end up, running a business. Because we're going to be your teachers. We're going to show you how to run a business. Yeah. Hopefully we're successful by then.
I want to look at a different avenue. So if our current children or our future children, they become exceptional athletes. What does college look like for them? But is it a thing?
No.
Because there's an option where they could go into leagues and work their way into a professional avenue without playing for a college. Is college the best way to become a professional athlete?
No.
Depends what sport you do. If you're playing football, true. It's the best way. If you're a stellar basketball,
it's the only way.
Right.
It's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, it's not the only way. There's people that played rugby that end up trying out for the NFL.
That is true.
Okay.
So there's
That's
always
rare.
around
That's
everything.
very rare.
It's very rare. I think
true.
there's only a handful. But if you're an exceptional basketball player, I would encourage you to go overseas
100%.
to have that experience in different cultures. And you're playing professional basketball.
The G League is like you don't even have to go overseas right now.
But what I'm saying is I would encourage you to go overseas because I feel like that's a good experience to have.
True.
And when you're that young, I feel like you need to get as much experience life experience.
So I
all this other
I
stuff.
100% agree with you. So the reason that I posed that question, because that was my thought exactly. If any of my girls become athletes, and I'm going to try out basketball first because that's my favorite sport. So just going to see if they like it. If they turn out to be good, it's awesome. But I genuinely am pushing the concept where, especially in female sports, you're a little bit more successful in Europe than you are here in the United States.
More.
Now, we have 15 years before they get to that age where it really matters and maybe things evolve and become better. But today, I'm encouraged. If I had a 17, 18-year-old daughter, I'm encouraging her to see if she can get drafted into Europe instead of the WNBA. Sadly, I'd see her more, but you could triple your pay, and you're a pseudo celebrity out there too as well. I was watching the FIBA last year, and there was one brother who's from Virginia. He's from Hampton area, and he plays on a Polish team. He's a star of the team, and I'm following him on Twitter, and he's definitely like a pseudo celebrity out there. But he's like the one bruh on the team with a bunch of Polacks, and he was killing it. And I was following them.
That reminded me of the stuff y'all know about Stephon Marbury. How
yes,
went to China.
Went to China, he was a superstar.
Yeah,
he has a statue over there.
Yeah, he played for the Ducks or something.
And y'all know how he was treated when he was over here, which I don't understand. I respect Stephon Marbury so much for doing those strawberry shoes. $15 shoes.
Strawberry.
But those $15 shoes that are anybody could get, and he was playing with them in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. I have so much respect for Stephon Marbury. Then he goes and has his, second life. He redeems himself and goes to China.
Yeah.
And just looked at as a god.
The other part that pissed me off with the Marbury thing was he's from, I want to say he's from Coney Island. He came back to play for the Knicks. Nobody fucking wants to play. I'm a Knicks fan. Nobody wants
and
to
they treat him so bad.
They treat him like shit.
And
he brought them to the playoffs, bust his ass.
Right.
And then, coaching situation comes in here. I think it was Larry Brown at the time. They didn't see eye to eye. And then they're like, oh, he's crazy.
One of the worst parts is Spike Lee made a movie about him, and then he have him in the movie. He got game.
I know.
He was like, let me get Ray Allen.
Yeah, Ray Allen. Hey, that movie was dope, though.
It was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that movie hit Denzel and Ray Allen.
Oh, yeah.
They crushed it. It's just, all of that stuff is tough as far as that initial decision. I want happy, healthy, productive adults. Like, that's what I'm trying to create with my daughters. Mm-hmm. I want them to know their value, know what they're worth, and I want them to have fun too. I'm not one, I don't want to get too far into it. I'm not one that expects my daughter to be perfect. She is going to fuck up. I don't know any women who haven't fucked up. All of them have regrets on something that they've done. I'm just hoping that regret is not something terrible.
I feel you.
And I think something that I love, I'm able to see what I've been through and, use my experience and teach her. Because, my parents came from Haiti. Your parents came from a different country. So it's kind of a different dynamic where you get because in my parents' eyes, you know what, you have to go to college to be successful. You have to work harder than everybody else to catch up, blah, blah, blah. But I'm able to show my daughter, like, hey, these are the ways you go. If you go this way, this might happen. If you go this way, this might happen. You should be able to look at different, consequences or whatever.
I think that's a perk of our generation because we've seen people successfully do something different. I think quite a few people from our parents' generation who grew up in between the 60s and the 80s, just college was the way to go. Would it feel any different if you've realized that your child was an entertainer? We'll go in a different way.
Like what type of entertainer? Like
every version. I kind of want to run the run the gambit because
follow-ups.
I want to run the gambit because what if you find out that they can sing? What if you find out they're a musician? What if you find out that they're funny?
Speaking of singing, my daughter hit a note last night.
You were like,
my wife and I were like, what? Because neither of us could sing. But yeah,
that's the thing. I feel like we have to be aware of that possibility because you don't want to particularly be a stage dad, and I'm forcing this onto them. But I think right now with social media, as they get older and they start to see that not only can you be popular at school, you can be popular across the world with certain platforms. If they do have a talent and they focus onto it, how do we kind of encourage them? But then also, what research are we doing to help make sure they can navigate this form of business?
All right, I think. Me personally, in my head, right this instance today, my daughter's not, or either if I have more children, are not going to have social media until they're 18. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
I right now, this instant right now, I don't want them to have social media. That's what a lot of the successful people are doing in the world, and I can see how social media could be a negative influence. But right this instance, I don't want them to have social media. But as far as if they're entertainers, I mean, go for it.
Good. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I think we should look at the fact that how many reasons are there not to go to the classic, I'm going to a 4-year college with the dormitory?
I'm very open-minded. If you don't want to go to college, I'm not going to push you to go to college.
My whole thing with all of this shit is have a plan and execute the plan. So if your plan is, I want to work for myself and, be a business owner, and you got to have that open dialogue with your kids. Right now with mine, she's in middle school age, so we have the conversations, just spitballing, throwing out like, what do you want to do? What interests you? And then you try to take her to that stuff so she can see that stuff, or
but even with that, their interests might change. So that wouldn't be stick with your plan. Because, when you're 18, I'm sure you're not doing what you thought you were going to be doing when you're 18.
I did that college. Hell no. I would never do that.
That's what I mean. I'll say have a plan, but be flexible and open-minded because you might want to do something one day. A year from now, you might want to do something else.
I relatively work in a field that I wanted to do. I'm not doing exactly what I thought I was going to do when I was a teenager, but it's ballpark. It's the same sport.
Yeah.
Kind of. So,
is it?
Yeah, I would consider so.
Okay.
It's ballpark. It's relatively.
Not mine. Mine's completely different.
Yours is completely different. Yeah.
Mine changed at least 10 times.
But mine didn't change a lot in between that time. But again, it's ballpark. So I look at it this way. If you're interested in science, right, there's a lot of jobs that are in the science realm. Some of it you don't require, like if you like science, you could work in a lab that requires you to go to college because it requires certifications and stuff. You could be a doctor if you like science, or shit, you could open up a company where you sell like hospital equipment. That's still science related. It's just completely like it's the umbrella is so wide with all of that shit that it could be anything. So I just want to figure out what she's involved with and see how I can help her get to that point. And again, there is no requirement for you to be in debt and go to college or shit. Even if it's free college, you still don't have to go if you don't want to. If that's not what you want to do, then don't do that shit.
Because time is money.
Limited time. Right. We are in a very limited time on this planet. I know now with my age, like you can die. There are people our age in our 30s that are dying right now, whether it's from COVID, car accidents, murder, anything can fucking happen. Do not fuck around and waste your time. It's the most valuable thing that we have. And I don't want to waste my kids' time by fucking around in college and being like, her thinking, what the fuck am I doing here?
The huge thing is for us to establish that form of conversation with them and then keep having it just in case things change. Because we're going to be a lot of their knowledge base.
Yep.
We get to the point that they trust us. And then if they say they want to do a certain thing, we tell them the pros and cons of it. And then we say, how does it reflect on what you're going to do next? But I think another thing, we're giving an example right now. I one night told my wife, I'm so sick of hearing other people's stories. I want to tell my story. I feel like I'm good at telling my story. And that's why we're getting together doing this. This is an example of what they possibly could do. And I feel like if they're ever a fan of someone in business, entertainment, politics, and they're like, I like the way that you do it, I want them to be able to say, I can do that as well, but then come and talk to us because they can't guess. We don't want them to waste their time by guessing and getting to that point. They can stumble across the way because they feel an independence, but I think that's the importance of us being here, is giving them that final, I tried that. Don't do that. Right. Now, if you try something I didn't try and you fail, now we both learn.
Exactly.
And it's like, and we can tell the other child, hey, me and your big sis, we messed up on this too. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. But we want to get to the point where we lead them towards the most successful path that they have. So I think that's awesome. And I feel like there are certain jobs where you have to go to school. And there's certain jobs where you don't have to. But I think the overarching thing that we're all saying is, what is the most efficient path? And sometimes saving money is the thing, or sometimes spending money because they're going to get money on the back end when it comes to positions like a lawyer or a doctor or things like that. Or if you get a full ride as an athlete, those are big factors. But I love the fact that we're all talking about flexibility, because as families in this generation, we have to know that there is no one way. And I think in the past, they've always said there was one way. Mm-hmm. There's multiple ways.
Just not to go off on it, but our parents' age, it was a guarantee that if you go to college, you get a better job. Mm-hmm. Like, that was a fact. And that's not what it is
changed.
Now. It's just it's not true anymore, but it was true. So the information that they gave us and what they put us through, it was by any means necessary. You get that degree, because once you get that degree, this many opportunities open up. And now Absolutely. It's like it's the internet. People are like, I will teach myself how to do my own damn taxes. Yeah. I will do there's so much information. You can do that shit yourself. You can learn government contracts yourself. You can learn
fucking open up presents on YouTube and get $1 million. Kids are making millions doing playing video games.
I know, man. Crazy.
Well, do y'all have any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, I'm always gonna have an open mind with my daughter. I mean, keep open-minded. You know, at the end of the day, it's her decision. I want her to understand whatever you decide to do, there are gonna be consequences. But you know, as a father, I'm always gonna be here to support you.
Yeah, mine is just happy, healthy adults. You gotta have that work balance and that home life balance. I've not always had it in my life. I'm trying to make sure that they can have a better one than I've had, because I know I've gotten too tied up before in the work and like, hey man, I gotta get this money, I gotta pay this, I gotta try to get rich, I gotta make this million. Because when I was younger, I was like, if I don't die with a couple mil, I fucked up, I failed. Right. And it's like, that's not true. There's plenty of rich ass people who are unhappy. I want her to be happy and productive. You can do that. Like, it can happen. You can be happy and productive. And, you know, I'm not trying to get all corny with like, oh, you can be rich with, you know, riching yourself with what? Like, no.
Nah,
you still got bills to pay.
Yeah.
Pay your bills and make sure that when you at home, you having a good time and you have enough to do that. And you're not, you know, just worried about money all the time.
Yeah. The ultimate goal is to make it so your path doesn't put you in so much debt that you're focused on the money, that you can be focused on what you're actually doing and enjoying it. If you're thinking about, I'm diminishing this debt that I have before I can become happy, if that's on your mind the whole time, you're not actually happy.
Hell no.
So let's help them get to the point where they're happy quicker.
And that has been an episode of the Girl Dad Chronicles podcast. Please subscribe to hear more about our journey as men, husbands, and of course, fathers. You can follow us on social media at Girl Dad Chronicles spelled out on Instagram and GD Chronicles on Twitter. The podcast can be found anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And once again, I have been your host, Lauren, alongside of my fellow girl dads, Jeff and Raph. Until next time.